I think we're going to go ahead and get started. And thank you to everyone for coming out here today. We're really excited to be taking this project on and doing this Office 365 migration. It's a major step forward for the zoo in terms of the features and the opportunities that we've got with the software. And it's a major project for us. And part of that is we want to make sure this goes well for all of you. So that's why we're taking the time to have a training session. And not only that, we wanted to introduce you to our partners that are helping us with this integration and migration to Office 365. So Mike and Marcus are here from i3. And we thought, who better than going straight to the source for your training to introduce you. And this is Marcus here. This is Mike. And i3 is a Grand Rapids-based company that has worked with nonprofits in the past. And this is part of their bread and butter. They do a great job of Office 365 migrations, and that's why we chose to partner with them. So we're really excited to have them working on this project. And we are planning on kicking off the initial phase of the migration this starting weekend. By Monday, you will have your email and calendar available in Office 365. So we are not going to be doing any other parts of the migration until later. So things like OneDrive, additional functionality, that's all on hold. We're going to do additional training sessions to make sure everyone's prepared and you get the information and knowledge you need to be able to operate successfully. So I would love to kick it off to Mike here and introduce you to i3. So let's get started.
Thanks, Jeremy. Very good. Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, we want to give you an overview of Outlook specifically within Microsoft Office 365. But first I want to say, I'm amazed. As a zoo attender for decades, I thought there were like 6 people that ran the zoo, right? It's substantial. So thanks for the work you do. We love the zoo and seen it change over the years. Kind of cool to get behind and see the backside of the animal exhibits too. Some of you will say too much information, you'll be overwhelmed. And some of you will say, give me a break. Are you kidding me? You're going to show me that? But yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to give you an orientation. We're recording this so you have future reference. And then we'll provide links to Jeremy so that you can go online and find standard Microsoft overviews and trainings also. I apologize for my mouse. I like to know where my mouse is. So therefore I have tails turned on and all kinds of stuff going on with the mouse. So apologies for that. So question, how many of you are using or have used Outlook or Microsoft Office 365 products in the past? All right, fair amount. And then everybody's using Gmail here, Gmail Business Suite. And I'll just say that, again, my name's Mike. I love technology. I love this stuff. And I love systems and platforms. And encourage everybody to embrace systems and platforms. If you're an Apple user, then the Mac and the iPad and the iPhone, et cetera, great system platforms. For me personally, I'm an Android guy. I use Gmail, Maps, Drive, all that. I love that system and platform. And I think
Just have to unplug and plug it back in. It looks like the screen.
Whoa,
Let's take a
I let's see. So this one, there we go. That's good. So all right, that's better. So yeah, you're used to Gmail and email and calendaring. So am I. I live a very segmented life. I'm using Gmail at home. I use Office 365 Outlook at the office. So you're familiar with Gmail, and I'm going to show you how Outlook differs. Just to underpin a few things, Microsoft is a very old company. used to be, and I came out of IBM, and these were cool technology companies, right? And Microsoft was a cool company 25 years ago. And now they're just one of those older companies. And the upstarts have challenged Microsoft. And about 6, 7 years ago, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, he said, we are going mobile, we're going browser, we're going to be in that business. Microsoft was in trouble. Free markets and competition improved Microsoft. So therefore, anything you can do on with Office 365 in their world works perfectly on an iPhone, perfectly on a Mac, perfectly on a PC, perfectly on an Android. So they want this experience to be, kind of like an Apple device, kind of like an Android device. So that's the benefit, and we've been living that improvement. I want to say, I'm going to go through this, but technology is flexible. There's no right or wrong way to use Microsoft products, and there's flexibility here. I'm going to show you the way I do it, and there's other ways to do it. And toward that end, I'm a right-click person. How many of you are right mouse, right-click people, or if you're left-handed? All right, a few. I'm going to show you the right mouse button for a right-handed person. I guess for a left-handed person, it might be the left mouse, but that'll be a lot of the context. And certainly in Gmail, you've got tiles. I think we call them tiles. And Microsoft, can you believe it? That Microsoft did the same thing and said, you got Outlook here in a browser, and here I am in a browser, and I've got tiles where I can go to my other application. And when you right-click on an application, you can open it in another window. And that's what we've done here. So right-click to open your calendar in another tab in the browser. And the last thing I want to say is some of us old school people in our technology like to work in a hierarchical world, right? So you have a server, a file server today. It has folders and subfolders and documents in it. That's the way we work, right? Question, how do we work on the World Wide Web? Any tabs? Yep. We open, I've seen 29 tabs open in the browser. Yeah, man. And then how do we get those tabs open? What do we generally do when we're looking for something? We search. And for somebody like me, that's a new context. Is that we can, in Outlook, in Office 365, I want to organize things hierarchically, but the whole platform is built for search, as is Office 365. So let's get into it. So the right-click concept that we talked about, and the tiles come up, and if I well, actually there's an ellipse here, and if I go to my calendar, or I go to the ellipse, I can say, open in a new tab. So that way I can have my email open and my calendar open in a tab, in a browser at the same time. I'm going to do most of this presentation in the actual client. How many of you have used the Outlook desktop client in the past? All right, about half. All right. So then I'll make the point here that this is a view of the client on the desktop. That's the way I like to work, is with the client on the desktop. So this is a desktop app. And I'm going to flip over to the email in a browser. And on the browser, it looks identical. So here we've got the TD SYNNEX email coming in here. I've got my inbox, my priority one alerts, etc. So this is the browser. These are tabs. and I come to the Outlook app on the desktop, it's the same thing, inbox, priority one alerts, etc. So Microsoft has worked really hard to make the browser experience identical to the desktop experience. So we have a number of people at our office that live in the browser. They're like desktop, yeah, it needs that stuff. Some of us like the desktop. I'm going to show you the desktop, and I'll try to show you also how it's similar to the browser. Now, one of the things you can do, again, the similarity, and I took the time to do this morning, is you can see the quick access toolbar along the top. And you can customize your quick access toolbar. So these are actions that you take on a regular basis. And if I come to the browser, you can see that it's identical. Delete, archive, junk. Again, I'm in the browser here with tabs. And this quick access toolbar can be customized right here. And I did that to make it identical. And so my browser is identical to this with delete, archive, file, or junk, etc. So those are actions that I can take with my emails. Again, making the point that the browser looks and feels identical to the client if you like. You can customize that. And it's the same thing with the ribbon. And when I come to the client here, the ribbon, I have a number of options here, and this is what we call the ribbon. And number one, I can scroll through the ribbon to get to different ribbons. The home ribbon here, and I can set the ribbon to classic ribbon, the one that a lot of us are used to for years and years and years, or I can go to the simplified ribbon. And so that just kind of gives icons and names to it. So sometimes that can be a little frustrating. It's like, where'd my ribbon go? And the answer is, oh, I have to run over here, find the drop down, and say, I want to show the ribbon in full screen mode, in tabs only, or simplified or classic. That can be a little bit bad, right? So that's customization. You can do it how you want. Okay, questions or comments at this moment? All right, good. Good overview, good start. Let's talk about sending and receiving email. No rocket science here. If you're sending a new email, it's basically click on the new email. Hello. And let's just go over to the browser once and see how we do that. Well, it looks identical, and that is new message, new email. So these are some of the things as I was preparing for this. It's like, oh, this is interesting. Microsoft's new message, new email. Come on, let's switch that stuff up a little bit. And that's a little different there. So, yeah, let's talk about sending and receiving email in read and unread. So, how many of you are familiar with the zero inbox concept? Zero inbox. Few OCD people in the room here like me want to manage to a zero inbox. So I say there's no right or wrong answer for how to use Microsoft technology. And toward that end, we've got a guy at our office with over 10,000 emails in their inbox, right? In his inbox, his name is Tom. Is that wrong? And the answer is no. You get to manage your technology how you want to manage your technology. And Tom's point is, Tom never deletes anything. He doesn't file things in folders. I'm a little bit more process oriented. I want things in neat little folders, goes back decades. But, and that way I can go to that client folder. I can go and find that email in a hierarchical format. What does Tom do with his 10,000 emails in the inbox? Exactly the point. So there's no right or wrong answer for the inbox, whether you're going to keep, thousands or hundreds of emails in the inbox. And then there's other people like me that say, well, I want to drive that down as low as I can. And that's the way that I work. So toward that end, in the inbox, I can right click on the inbox, go to properties. I can go to properties for the inbox or any email folder. And I can say, show the total number of unread items or the total number of read items. So, or show the total number of emails in that box. So again, the zero inbox concept is, can I actually keep up with the emails coming into my inbox? And I'm going to drive that number as low as possible. Then I know and feel like I have things under control. That's the way I work with it. And that is why I have all of my email boxes set to show the total number of items, total number of emails in my inbox, not the unread one. Bet 90% of you have it today where you see how many unread emails are in your inbox. True? All right. And no right or wrong answer there. But what happens in Office 365, much like Gmail, is I've got multiple tabs. I've got primary, social, promotion, and in the business suite, I'm not certain exactly what those tabs are, but Microsoft will automatically organize emails for you, right? So that you don't have to see them all. Well, I'll show you what happens with me. If you like to receive updates and so on, I do. Get in a little bit of trouble there. So even in Gmail, I've got hundreds of emails in the promotion and the social. I don't look at them. They're not important to me. The important emails are going into my primary email box personally. There's not a lot of them going in there. So I come back to the inbox here, and I've got a total of 196, but the total in the other folder has to be somewhere around 50. So given a little bit of effort, I can drive this total number of emails in my inbox down. So that's a little bit of too much information, maybe on zero inbox versus just search the inbox. And then we can set to unread or show the total. And I showed you total read and unread. Any comments about that? Questions?
Could we just send an email back and forth and show everyone what it's like to create a new email, send it, and
Oh, yeah.
what it's like to
I'm
receive
coming to
one?
that. Yes. So let's, okay, I talked about focused and other. So we've got other email here, and now we're in the right click. And I say right click, and you say, where is it in the ribbon? I say it's in the ribbon here also. I'm just not going to go to the ribbon and show you exactly where it is. So we right click here. I've got an email in my other folder, which means Microsoft says it's probably not important to you. It came from a vendor, a partner, somebody like that. It's not somebody you dialogue with all the time. Therefore, we're going to dump it in the other folder. But you can say move to focus or always move to focus. So we can move things back and forth. And the same thing in the focused email. I can go in there. It's the inverse. You can say, this email, I'm getting these updates from this person. I really don't care about them. I'm going to move them to the other. Then I'm not going to see them in my primary inbox every single time. Focus versus other. And then sorting, you can sort the emails in any way you want. So the default is date, conversation, the order they came in. For me, when I'm going through my other inbox, I'll often sort by who they're from, and then I can see all those Synex ones. I don't want to look at every one of those, delete them all. Or I can scan the whole inbox and say, yeah, I'm just going to delete them all. Goodbye, everything. I'm not even going to read them. So that's focus versus other and sorting for, I think, productivity, rather than going through them one by one by one. Again, for me, I like to file stuff. So if I get an email from a customer, I can go to the move dialog box and just move it directly into a folder. So that's the way I operate. In my primary inbox, I move it into a folder. And so that's the move for filing. And then if you want to create a new folder, it's go to the move dialog and I'm gonna move it, and oh boy, I need a new folder. I'm gonna move it to another folder of some sort, and then I'm gonna create a new folder. And I can create that folder, subfolders, etc. How many of you are organizing by folders, like or by categories? Is it categories, Jeremy?
Labels.
Label.
Labels and folders within Gmail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the way I like to do it. You know, I'm trying to be a search person, but I'm just not there yet. Rules, which we talked about. Oh, I want to talk about rules in a minute. So, any of you creating rules, automatic rules in Gmail Business Suite today? Yes, few nodding heads. I'm a big rules guy. You can see why. And the reason is because I'm big subscribed to updates from vendors and newsletters and so on. So we create rules. Again, right click or up in the ribbon somewhere, there are rules. And so now I am going to create a rule. And I'm not going to get too deep into this, but basically, you know, dialog box that says, let's create this rule. And if it came from this individual or this email address, or if the subject contains, and it was sent to me, or it was sent, if it was sent only me, and that's an option. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to move it to a different folder. So I'll select the folder and I'm going to stuff it into an e-newsletter folder. And then I'm going to, well, it came from Synex. And then I'm going to move along the dialog. It'll create a rule that every email that comes in from this organization goes into a folder. And that gives me a smaller inbox, which is my goal. I want to go to my inbox and find the important stuff. And the miscellaneous stuff, the updates, go elsewhere. What does that look like? Well, I've got e-newsletters here. You can see in the e-newsletters from businesses, I've got 79 total emails in there. You can also see that I haven't looked at it since November. And frankly, maybe I should unsubscribe it. I kind of like that organization. I want the updates. And so they're going into that folder. And if I'm bored sometime or I have the time, I'm going to look at those updates. But what can I do with that folder? And I'll do this once every 3 to 6 months, is I can delete all those emails. So I've got 79 emails in that folder. Do you want to move everything in this folder to your deleted items folder? Yes, I do. 79 emails. Goodbye. I don't have time to look at you. So that's the way that I use folders. I organize things into folders. The less important stuff is going to folders, and I can look at those updates. And the other box here, the other box is stuff that, okay, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on. If I get to a point of, man, I'm just not looking at it, I can unsubscribe, or I can create a rule to go into a folder. That is folders. Questions, comments? Yes. A subfolder, absolutely. Yeah, and that's I mean, move to folder, move to other folder. Little trick you need to remember, if you want to put that under business partners, then I have to click on business partners, then say a new folder, and it's going to tuck it under that folder. It becomes a subfolder over there. A little bit of oops, remember. But by the way, you can also come here and you can move. You can just literally slide folders around and move them around. Drag and drop, essentially. So you can reorganize your folders. You can rename them also.
So all the folders that we currently have in our Gmail, those will get migrated over, so those will exist.
In a perfect world, yes.
As part of the migration, Alec from i3 has already let us know that we're going to be migrating those. So
Exactly.
what you have will be duplicated and it'll just show up there. And then if you have rules, I don't think the rules are going to be migrated.
I don't know.
I think those are going to have to be recreated.
And we use We use tools to move the folders and everything over, folders, email, etc.
Get another question?
Yeah, so can some of them go into two folders or is it all to one folder? I know with,
That's
an
it.
example, you know, I use labels in Gmail, and sometimes emails have more than one label on them.
Yeah, it's something that I don't do much, but you can see here at the bottom, there's copy to folder. So I think you copy to a folder and then you move it to a folder. Yeah,
Yes.
I have that. Questions, other questions?
So as of Monday, are we gonna be receiving emails from both Outlook and Gmail?
No. What we're going to do, your Google account will still stay active. You'll still have access to Google Docs, Google Sheets. All of that's still going to be available. The mail is now going to come in to Office 365. So existing mail will still be there. Whatever you've received from Gmail will still be there. We're making a new copy in Office 365 and all new emails will come in through Outlook. Same thing with calendars.
The mail app is already on.
The mail app,
Yeah. That's something.
no, that's the Microsoft application. So we're going to be using Outlook. Outlook is the application that you will use for Office 365. And there's a web application. And then for some users, they will also get the desktop application. It's installed on your machine and you don't need a browser to run it.
So is our email address the same?
You guys speak up a little bit, just. so that-
Yes, email address will stay the same.
I personally work out of 3 different emails, so I'd be able to have all 3 emails open on that website.
You can have multiple accounts logged into Outlook.
I can switch between.
Yes.
I recently, typed my email on my phone. Is that something that we'll still be able to?
Yep, we're actually going to go over that toward the end of the presentation. You can still do it. We highly recommend you use the Outlook app, but we'll get into further detail.
We'll take a risk on showing that on the phone, on a mobile phone. And yes, I mean, certainly the sync from the browser to the Outlook client on the desktop to the phone is really, really solid. Unless you're in the UP with a DSL line, there can be a little timing, but it's downright entertaining how well it works. Okay, let's talk about a new email then. Creating a new email is pretty straightforward. I don't think there's much new. Today in Gmail, it suggests people that you're going to send it to. Same thing here. I'm gonna send an email to Marcus, and it pulls it up. I'm gonna send it to Jeremy, and it pulls it up. I'm gonna put a subject in, and I'm gonna type away. Now, I want to add an attachment to that. How do I add an attachment? Oh, here we go. So we can add an attachment to the email. We can send it and put it in a folder. So I'm going to send it and file it into a folder as I send it. And, I can put categories on it also. Well, I can put reminders. This is bonus information, which I really love. And that is, if you're sending an email to somebody and asking them to do something, then you can you can add a reminder to it for me to follow up. I'm going to check on Friday at 3:00 p.m. and make sure it was actually done. And then I'm going to flag for the recipients to follow up. And we'll have them check at 1:00 on 1:30 on Friday. They get a pop-up saying, did you get, oh yeah, I got that done, dismiss. And then I get a pop-up, and if I want, I can trust and verify, I can check in and say, hey, did you get that done? So I can put reminders on emails. That's something that I really like. And then signature, use many signatures here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can set the signature up. We can use a standard signature or, and you can see the graphical signature, the way that can be set up. What else do we want to send in or see in creating emails? What are some of the other things?
I think just some formatting of different
Oh, yeah.
looking text and bullets.
Oh, yeah, I am bullet guy. And I personally have a preference for square bullets. Anybody want to have a discussion about that? You like,
So right now, like, a lot of
so that's a good point. That'll be in phase 2 of the project is migrating over to
Shared
shared document
folders.
folders.
Are you
Are you
sending
sending
those
those
from a shared drive
drive
or from
Google
Google Docs?
Docs? Shared drive.
You can definitely copy links and put them into the email. That's definitely an option.
How do I do that? Is it the same?
So we just have to go into Google and get the link.
Yes. So you just copy the link from Google and drop it into the email. Yep.
Another question back here.
On that note, if you would normally sort of share this Google Doc sheet, whatever, with somebody, that's not the way to do it. You
Correct.
Grab the link, give it to them versus the way you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And that is exactly right. That, be phase 2 or 3 to migrate into the new folders in Office 365. Then it will be simply a drop down to browse a web location and just attach the link that way. Office 365 will give you an option to attach a link or attach a document. And you guys are using a lot of links. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's great.
Yes.
Don't want to beat a dead horse, but we do have a lot of stuff in Google Docs and Google Sheets and things like that. And I get the sending of a link that's easily copy and paste. But that functionality right now is not going away, and you do have to set within Google, I'm sharing this with so-and-so as an editor, or sharing this with someone as a viewer. That still wouldn't go away at this point, correct, in terms of how
Correct.
we're dealing in those documents?
Yeah, you still have to set who has access to it. But because mail is no longer going to be in Gmail, then Google services cannot send an email out. That's the core of why you have to do it that way.
Yeah, and then, you have all the options to, underline, bold, italics, change the size, change the color of the font, etc. Yes.
in Google, we use a lot of templates to talk to our clients.
Yes. You can use shared templates or standard templates. And let me see if I can find that in a minute. Personal templates. So here's templates. It's on the message tab, essentially the home tab. And some standard templates there. One of the templates I use a lot for my voicemail, can we meet next week, Tuesday, etc. So yeah, you can have shared templates or personal templates.
Migrate over, is that something?
The template's going to migrate over. I don't know that answer.
I don't think they will. I think you're gonna have to recreate them.
All right.
Now, there's a chance you can just copy the existing text and paste it into a template and save it. And I think the formatting should stick, but Yeah, that's something we can take a look at.
So I think there's 2 or 3 ways to accomplish, our mission at I3 is accelerating business results. So, we're slowing it down a little bit here, moving from Gmail to Outlook, but hopefully then things start moving faster. That's the whole goal of technology, is the goal of business, right? So you've got templates. I love that you're using templates. And then there's this quick parts. So with quick parts, I can just click on this and say, per my voicemail, are you available? So that can be in a template, it can be in a quick part. But the other thing you can do is auto text. Anybody using Gmail auto text at all? Okay, so some power users using the auto text. So at I3, if I type REL, it automatically puts in our managed services offering reliability. If I type Fortress, it automatically puts in Fortress Cybersecurity Services. So I'm moving faster that way. If I type I3B, it automatically puts in I3 Business Solutions. You can build that in auto text and it'll feed across all, Microsoft Word, it'll feed across Outlook, it'll feed across everything you log into. So you've got auto text, you have templates, and you have quick parts to move faster in that way. Anything else we want to see? Oh, there's so much to show in creating creating an email. Yes, question.
Can you schedule stuff or set up recurring emails, like reminders?
Oh, I love that. So recurring emails every month, I'm not familiar with how to do that. An automatic email that goes out every month, that's beyond my pay grade. So we'll work with you on that. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Absolutely, there's a way to do it. Just can't show you. And then the scheduling for a time. I love that. Thank you. It's part of productivity, and I'm maybe one of the worst offenders at I3. But my pet peeve is, at 9:33 in the morning, broadcast email goes out to the whole company saying, hey, we're meeting at 5:30 at New Holland. Do we really need to interrupt everybody in the organization at 9:33 a.m. to say, hey, we're getting together? Love to see that happen at noon or 5 p.m. So broadcasting, and this goes to governance. And Jeremy and our team will work with you toward governance. But certainly when I'm writing a new email, one of my standard icons here in the customized ribbon, we talked about the fact that we can customize the access bar. So in a new email format, I do have, hey, let's file it in a folder. Here's my attachments. And then here's the delayed delivery. And it defaults to 5 p.m. So if I want to get that email out at noon, hey, maybe people are actually taking a lunch break at 12 or 12:30, and I'm not interrupting everybody in the organization, I can delay that send. I love that. I think we should improve our governance at I3 for that. And then I would be the one offender. Yes.
I'm sorry, it's interesting. The feature for scheduling emails out is called delay delivery in O365. So you would set up your delay or your scheduled date for message to be delivered. That feature. I can't remember exactly where it is off the top of my head. I don't have that in front of me, but I can send you something like that.
Great, thank you. Learn something new every presentation. Delay delivery. Okay. I was just going to show you that you can insert a calendar into your email. So if you're saying, hey, let's get together tomorrow, you can say, I want to insert my calendar, and what am I going to show? The date range is going to be tomorrow. Let's get together. And I'm going to show this within my working hours only. And I can show availability. Oh, it's inside the company, therefore I'll show limited availability. And when I hit enter, I'm going to get my calendar. It's going to pull the calendar. It's going to insert it right in here. And good luck picking a time slot in. So that's a way, you know, I don't use that very often, but if you're trying to schedule an appointment, it'll grab that calendar, insert it right in. Anything else we want to see on creating an email?
I don't think so.
All right. Okay, let's talk about Outlook calendar. So here I've got my calendar page in the middle of August. And it looks a lot like the Google Calendar. I mean, it's a standard calendar, yes.
I just have a question. If you send, like, let's say I'm sending that calendar and invite one of my vendors, will it still show up?
It'll resolve, yes.
We're receiving calendar requests right now from people that are using Office 365, and you wouldn't know the difference. And it'll work the same way when we move over, that you'll receive Google calendars and you won't even realize that it's Google versus Office 365. So obviously, you know, we've been communicating, setting up meetings. It's completely seamless in terms of whether or not they're using Google or Microsoft.
Yeah, and Microsoft, Google, Apple, you know, they all work really hard in making sure you can actually view an email and the graphics and the information in the correct manner.
For the integration, anything that's on our Google Calendar currently, will that also translate over to the new calendar?
Yeah, we are migrating calendars as well as part of the process.
Okay, coming down the home stretch, I need to keep moving on calendars. All right, create a new appointment. So this is interesting because I always create a new appointment. It's the default in Microsoft. Going back to the browser view, it's called a new event. So it's a little different in the browser view. The good news is it defeats one of the problems I have, the extra click I have, because I create a new appointment, not a new meeting. You create a new meeting, and therefore it gives you the dialog box to invite people. So I create this new meeting with Jeremy and Marcus. I'm like, where's the invitation? Oh yeah, I have to invite people. So I always do this extra step called invite people. If I come back here and if I was more experienced or better organized, I would create not a new appointment, but a new meeting. So you create a new meeting and that dialog box shows up for who to invite. A new meeting includes the dialog box and a new appointment does not. So here I have it here. I'll invite Marcus. I'll invite Jeremy. And then shared locations, you're going to have a number of shared locations here at I3. We basically have one, it's our conference room. And so I can choose the conference room. I can choose the treehouse here and other locations. You're going to have default. All
Will
right.
the location, if it's already booked, just go away like it does in?
There will be calendars for specific rooms and spaces.
I just didn't know, like,
So
when
is
you
that-
go to the, will it just automatically get rid of non-options in the location, or do you have to go back? and click the calendar?
Well,
Get rid of
Like
non-options.
when he has location, is it gonna show me only the rooms that I can choose at the time that are available? Oh, it's, okay, now I see the available underneath.
yeah, so, yeah.
Safe or whatever.
It's a good question.
There's the answer.
So another,
Sorry, I was going to say, there are going to be certain rooms that are restricted and you don't just get to book it. So, you know, very similar to what we're doing right now, you know, the treehouse, you need to go through events and, you know, Rhiannon also is going to be managing the ballroom. But like the small conference rooms, the huddle room that's over an admin, things like that, where it does not require approval, we will set those up so you can see availability and book them.
Will that be in locations or will it be in, is it gonna be in locations here? Or will it be somewhere else?
I'm not sure what you mean by,
The rooms, those,
Like right now, I can add people and I can add rooms.
yes,
Is it?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so those will be in rooms.
So I'm going to pick up the pace here for 9 minutes. Let's do questions at 5:02 in a perfect world. So now I can go to the scheduling assistant and I can see the availability of, Marcus and Jeremy and so on.
Scheduling
And-
assistant right there too is a great way with an existing calendar invite, just to see who's attended, if it's a larger, virtual meeting or event. You can see who's accepted and who hasn't.
Yeah, you can see who accepted and who declined and who didn't respond at all. So scheduling assistant gives me the ability to look at, I could see also if the room's available. So we've got, I want to show scheduling assistant that, and then also is recurrence. I'm setting up a recurring meeting. I want this to happen every week or every month. It's going to happen on the 17th, or it's going to happen on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. So I can set up the recurrence right here for recurring meetings. I'm not a specialist in recurring emails, but recurring meetings, yes, easy to do. And then I can set an end date. Oftentimes I'll end these at the end of the year, or they'll go on forever. So recurrence, easily available. I'll just flip over and show you. I don't live a lot in here, but when you create a new event, Microsoft got it right in the browser that we do have the invite attendees here. It automatically defaults. And then I can start seeing availability in a little different format. So if you're living in the format in the browser, it's a little different experience. Let's see, we talked about a recurrence, availability. Yeah, I can see the availability. And then of course, I can format, I go over here to format text, and I can use my square bullets to put my agenda and so on in here. And certainly I can put attachments in also. I can attach files, etc. to the calendar. I'll show you one really cool trick that I use all the time. And that is from my inbox. There it is. Okay. From my inbox. I get an email from somebody and I want to create a meeting with them. And what's the meeting about? Well, the very subject of the email. So therefore, I can take this email and slide it into the calendar icon. And it creates the meeting. Oh no, it's an appointment. How do I invite somebody? But it puts the whole content in there. I love that. Oftentimes, if the person has their phone number in the signature, I've got their phone number. Now, second thing, when I create that event, I can put a location. So if it's going to be at 565th Street at our office, right down the road there, I just put that in there. So the client on the desktop, the cell phone, the browser will automatically find addresses and locations. Again, I love that because when I'm driving to the location, I can click on it and it'll pull up Google Maps and it'll give it directions to the location. So very powerful in that way. Drag and drop to create calendar items. Put your people in there, you invite, etc. Blah blah blah. Oh crap, where's the invited attendees? I have to go up here and find it. Okay, now I'm going to invite Jeremy and do that. So that drag and drop is very powerful. I love that. Let's just talk a little bit about permissions. When I come over here to view, I believe it's view. No. I have to find this.
In calendar.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to come over here. Thank you, Jeremy. And I'm going to come over to view and I go back to home. I will find this. There it is. Share calendar. You're sharing calendars today. Others can see your calendar. Yeah, so this is it. And I'm gonna share my calendar. Who can see my calendar is everybody in my organization, I'm set, can see my calendar. And I don't even care if they see what I'm doing and where it's at, the location. That's the way mine's set. But you can also set it to only view when I'm busy. So you don't know where I am or what I'm doing, but you do know I'm busy. You can also allow people to view all the details of your calendar item. You might have a close colleague that you're working with for that. And then lastly, you can give edit permission. This person can schedule appointments on my behalf. So we can set permissions in that way. Pretty straightforward, pretty user-friendly dialogue. When we're in the calendar, much like Gmail, G Suite, and we can look at the work week, we can look at the full week, we can look at a month, we can look at the calendar in different ways. I can look at a day and I can say, well, I want to meet with Marcus on that day. What is his availability? And actually, I'm going to end up choosing Kathy Lopez, take a risk on that and see is she available on that day. And out in August, she's available all day. So I can put calendars side by side. I can put 6 calendars side by side. It's a little maddening for me to put a whole week side by side. That's too much information for me. But I can view someone else's calendar if they gave me permission. All right. I'm going to give this to go as we come down the home stretch here. Let's see if we can actually. Go to, let's go to the Outlook app. Anybody see it now? Down here, I'm close, I'm getting close. Okay, I got it. Mercy. By the way, if you're Windows users, powerful integration between, at minimum, Android and Windows. All right. I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi on my phone. So if you're in the office, you have your phone on the Wi-Fi and you have, and you're on the Wi-Fi, you'll be able to get that information. So it syncs nicely. The Outlook app on the phone is very secure and it's a very similar user interface with email and calendaring. It works well. It syncs up very nicely. I think we're at 5 of the hour and I'll open it up for more questions. Yes.
Does the Outlook app, I'm guessing it probably still lets you have like a work profile for your email that you can turn on and off at certain times.
You repeat that?
Like if you have the Outlook app on your phone, are you able to turn on and off your work email?
Notifications, yes. You know, it's one thing, you know, for somebody like me, and I don't know where this feature is on the cell phone, but when I want to get work done, there's an icon called work offline. And so I'll do that sometimes. I'll say, turn off all incoming emails, etc. And I'm going to go offline. Now I'm not getting any new emails in to my client on the desk. And if that feature is available on Outlook on the cell phone, I'm familiar with it. I bet there is.
You can set a general preference that creates what basically considered your working hours. And once you set that, it will block out any communications and notifications past the working hours.
Yeah. And you can have multiple accounts in Outlook on your cell phone as well. I actually use Outlook for my personal Gmail because I think it's better. It actually works pretty well, but you can have as many accounts as you can synchronize. So I think I have 5 different accounts that are all running in Outlook. So work accounts, personal, all of those different things, they can all launch in the same app.
I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, but having the separate locked work profile on your phone that has everything that only speaks to your work accounts. Like on my phone right now, I've got all of my normal apps, and then I can slide over to work, and it has locked versions of all of like my Outlook and my calendar that only talks to my work account.
Okay, I guess I'm not as familiar with that, but I'll definitely take a look and yeah, we can set out information on that.
No, I just say again, no right or wrong answers. I have all my business stuff in Office 365 and my personal stuff in Gmail. And that's how I segment my life.
So I'm saying, because Google is a different app where the calendar and the mail, calendar and email is all in the Outlook app on.
Yes.
For this?
That's correct. So Outlook is both calendar and email combined.
Yeah, and I think for the question about separate, you just have to download the Outlook app under your work profile, and then it'll be able to be isolated in one.
When you log in, it'll ask you for your account, and that's going to be your first initial, last name at jbzoo.org. And then your password is actually the exact same password that you use to log into your computer. Those are going to be synchronized from here on out, where you may not have different passwords, but it is possible that your Gmail password is different from your computer. So that is a nice convenience that we're going to have going forward. It's the same password for your computer as it is for your email.
Nice. Yeah, by the way, good point here is in Gmail Business Suites, you have an app called Calendar, right? And you open it separately. But in fact, in Office 365, you have icons here and the mail icons here and or vice versa, the mail icons here and the calendar icons there. So a little bit different dialogue. Go ahead.
Okay. So on that 3 different email things, would I be able to just like one calendar open and it will talk to all 3 different ones? Or will I have 3 different calendars? I'll have to go check off.
I'll tell you what,
You can actually view multiple calendars at the same time. There's check boxes for which ones you can see. So you can choose whether or not you want to see all of them or just an individual.
Something though, I'll stay in like the same calendar and I'll be able just to switch what I'm scheduling for, or it'll be kind of the same.
I'm not quite sure.
When you're scheduling, for something, you basically select the primary point, you basically say who it's from. So there's a drop down in the schedule, so you would see, your name is John, forgive me, I'm new, so I don't know everything else that. Your name is johnballzoo.com, but if you need to schedule it from, let's say, party@johnballzoo.com, you just drop down that, and then it
And then it
will,
will all be one.
it'll be in there. You just need to switch who the from is.
question?
So can you create calendars without an email address? So I have multiple calendars for the different programs within.
So a shared calendar, like a universal calendar that isn't just tied to you, right?
No, I'm the one that schedules in it. So like I have a volunteer calendar and I have an intern calendar that I manage, separate than my personal calendar. But they're not tied to an email address, but I could just make them in Google. Is there a way to do that so that they don't show up side by side, that they overlap so I can see them all?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Question.
I currently use the task function within Google Calendar a lot. Does something like that exist in Outlook Calendar? Or is that in another phase that a program will?
Absolutely.
It definitely is part of it. You will see tasks and I believe notes as well. Those are not as commonly used, but they are definitely there. And as Mike showed, when you put in like a follow-up reminder, that automatically goes into the task list. So if you send someone an email with a follow-up attached, it's now going to be in their task list of, I need to do this by this day.
It's a good example. I mean, there's all kinds of webinars and improvements to tasks in Microsoft Office 365. I don't use,
There's,
so,
there's actually a task icon right down by your calendar there on the bottom left as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually see the tasks icon down at the bottom.
I haven't looked at it in years. It's scary.
Andy, you've been holding your hand up patiently quite a bit.
Yeah, will those migrate then? If you have Google tests, will they migrate into Microsoft tests or no?
I'll check with Alec on that. That was not something we had discussed yet, but I'll take and see what we can do on that.
And then two other questions. Any existing calendars that you have and associated with them, will those all be mirror transfer happens? Or
So-
do we need to like go and check them all and make sure?
There isn't anything that's required of you for this migration. It's all being done through a software package that i3 has purchased that helps to do that. So email and calendars are definitely part of the scope of this.
But so if I have current calendars that are shared with 10 people in this room, when we go into Microsoft, that calendar will still exist and the sharing to those 10 people will still be intact.
It's part of the scope? Yes.
And then other quick question is group emails or group, what Google knows as groups. Are those then part of that too, I assume?
Also part of the scope, yes.
Perfect. Thanks.
Great.
Yes. So we were just talking about the task part of it. That's something I need further clarification. Appointments and meetings are basically the same thing. An appointment is just a meeting where you're the only attendee. And a meeting, yeah, that's with multiple people. So those are all part of what we're looking to migrate. Out of office would be a good thing to go.
Sure. So in the client, the desktop client, I'm going to go to automatic replies and create an automatic reply. And it's pretty much copy, paste, update, turn on for dates, etc. Set the automatic reply for inside my organization or outside my organization. And then I can set the time from today through next week. Pretty standard.
Will that sync with your calendar, or do you have to do it on your calendar separately? Like lock out that day so no one else can see?
It should sync.
You,
If your calendar is shared, I believe it'll show that you have an event filled for that week or that day.
Other questions? Yes?
Appointment settings, like, private, like even if other people can't see my calendar and if I can appointment private, will those migrate over as well? Because I'm a function within the. Or will I need to filter through and make sure that what I have private is still private?
as a best practice, absolutely verify it. Yes. Yes. So migration software isn't perfect, and it is a lot of data that's being pushed over. If there are things that you're concerned about other people seeing, whether it's permission to see it or permissions removed to see it, definitely double check. We can't guarantee that the software is going to be 100% perfect. This is a major migration. We're going to do our best to be available to help out and help you with any issues, but double check. The proof is in the pudding. We want to see it working, and we'll do what we can to help. But yeah, definitely verify.
Any other questions?
You may have to really apologize for this. Can you confirm like the date and time on after this point, if you try to schedule on the calendar in Google, it will not transfer? Like, what's that crossover time?
This coming Monday is our cutover date.
Monday.
So like
Sunday
Monday.
night, I can still have a calendar appointment and it'll show up?
Yeah, we're going to continue we're going to move data over the weekend, and Monday is when we are cutting over.
Okay, just thinking about when to know, like, this isn't moving, so don't.
Correct. Yeah, and then for Monday, we will take and push out a link on everyone's desktop to the login page. So you have that available if you haven't already gotten into your account, which most people have not. So we will have a Office 365 login link that will show up on your desktop, and that will get you to where you need to go to access your email. Yes.
Folders. What about if we have sorted, if we've sorted our emails in the inbox, and color coded them by the type of email they are, the type of transaction you're working on? Will that type of detail transfer?
So sorting is really just a setting that you can choose within Outlook. Now, color coding, I believe there are color codes that you can apply
There used to be.
in
What I
Outlook.
have set will like,
So
so color coding. What about?
no, I wouldn't make that assumption. Normally color coding is, yeah, it is available in Outlook. So I can get you an answer on that, but I don't see any reason it wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little
For labels or calendar invites?
No.
too detailed maybe, but in Outlook
Emails or
is
calendars?
categories,
Sometimes I.
and that's the color coding. I use color
Emails,
coding on my
okay.
calendar. I like that. Maybe a little over the edge again. But all these questions deep into the bowels of migration, and is it gonna pull that over perfectly? I'm definitely deferring to Jeremy and Alec and the tool. I'm just not sure how deep it goes in each area in the tool.
And this is my inbox, not my.
Oh, you're
Okay.
in.
So
All right.
one of the features on your inbox is categories, if you right click, Mike.
Yeah.
And I believe those may have to be, if you go, categorize.
Yeah.
I
Which is-
think those have to be kind of personally customized and built out.
Whatever I have already in the category.
I wouldn't assume that. Give us a chance to look at the tool and see what options we've got. But again, it's a comprehensive tool designed for complete migrations. So we
Okay.
will try to get you an answer and, prepare you for that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Microsoft's doing thousands of Gmail migrations, so, but have to defer to Jeremy and Alec.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify from what Andy was saying, if I'm working this weekend, should I not schedule any meetings over the weekend because that's when this is happening? Like if I schedule a meeting with someone, will that transfer over because you're already doing the transfer?
So data migration happening this weekend, yes, there is a chance that if you're scheduling something on Saturday or Sunday, that it may not be synchronized. So I
Yeah, I
recommend,
It,
pay attention to any new meetings or requests that you send out. Emails will be sent out until we make the final change on what's called our MX records. And that's where we're pointing emails at.
I think it is good to take the weekend off. Seriously, it does. I mean, we're talking about a lot of data and
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours of migration, so.
Yeah, and it's not lost on us that this is going to create some challenges. We
Yeah.
do realize that. But this is something that the board has approved and has recommended for us to do. And we do see the value in going to Office 365. We know there are going to be pain points and it's going to be a busy week for all of us in IT. There's going to be issues. We know that, but we're here to help and, we're going to do everything we can to make this as seamless as possible for everyone. And all of us have gone through this process before in the past. And it generally is a fairly smooth process, but again, there may be unique things for individual users or ways that people use things that we'll have some challenges, but we're here to help. So by all means, when you're concerned, ask us. If there's something that's not working right, don't hesitate to submit a ticket. Let us know.
Yes, sir.
Google Calendar, the way it is right now, you have, when you set up a meeting, you have an option of a one-click setup, set it as a Zoom meeting. Is that gonna be an option, or do you have to?
Zoom has a wonderful plugin for the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Patrick is correct. There is a plugin for Zoom, so you can create a Zoom meeting right from your Outlook calendar.
Nice. Answer. seriously, on the migration, this tool will take hours and hours, maybe a half a day to mash through all the data and get it right. So the exact timing of, to hit in the middle of that migration would be a challenge.
So to put it in perspective, we've already transferred the past 90 days of everyone's data. Or everything that's 90 days and older, I should say. That's already been pushed into Office 365. What we're doing this weekend is kind of a true up of, okay, what's newer than 90 days? We're going to push that out again. We may do it one more time before we go live on Monday, just to, what did we miss from the time that we last migrated to now? So it's a phased approach. There's already data sitting in Office 365 for every single user. And we're going to continue migrating as we go through the weekend to try to get everything as close as possible to the cutoff. Yes.
So, yeah, I understand though that on Monday, we'll be able to see both. On cross-reference.
Yes, you will still see your emails in Gmail. You will no longer be able to send.
But
That's the key difference.
Could we print?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So it's kind of like all new inbound emails are done. And, you can still technically receive, I believe. I'll need to check with that. But basically, Google is a reference going forward in terms of emails. And from here on out, you'll have your previous emails and they will be in Office 365 every time you receive a new one. Yes.
So Adrian kind of asked about the Google, Group, and I understand they're part of the integration, but are we still able to access them? You can reply to groups and you can also reply through emails. So I'm just wondering if functionality of that would be.
If it's an email, it will not be available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because that's for us, the general contact form comes into a group and then gets distributed to whoever's on that list. So I'm assuming I can reply through Outlook email and that won't change as far as accessing Google.
So if it's coming into a group, it'll be coming into a group email within Outlook. So that'll be a new group that's created based on the existing one. And it'll just exist over in Office 365. And depending on how it's set up, either it'll be an inbox that you have available on your account, or it will be forwarded to your email.
Okay, but you're saying the best case is to reply through email?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear you there.
So would you want to reply through your email then, instead of through the group?
So you're saying, you're saying when you reply to the email, you need to reply as, let's say, ticketing and JV2 or that. So you'll have to, there's a way to do it. It's basically similar to how you would do the calendar invites. Choose the drop down, just choose who's from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that'd be a shared inbox and we can send emails from that address.
So if you're, you have a toggle if you need emails.
Sorry, I still can't hear you. Yeah, you'd have to select a different account to submit.
Still be all on the same pane, so you see everything within this screen here. It would just be a drop down.
Yeah, I mean, maybe too much information, but here are groups in Outlook, in Office 365. You can see I haven't looked at them, but these are group emails. They also have group calendars. But separately, we can have shared email that multiple people can look at and work within. So Jeremy and team will work together to get that right for you. All right, I think that's a wrap.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
it.